I'm Dr. Liz Stafford, and this is Primary Music in Conversation. My guest for this episode is Annie Udzhiyan from Mere Green Primary School. Mere Green is part of the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership, and Annie is responsible for all the music in her own school, but also is the lead for the trust covering 27 schools, helping them to develop their music, providing training and support for them. So we're going to talk about both of those aspects of her role, her teaching at her own school and also that wider development role. And they've also just been appointed as a lead school for the Birmingham Music Hub, so we're going to have a little bit of a chat about that as well. I hope you enjoy this episode. So, welcome, Annie, to Primary Music in Conversation. Could you just give us a little bit of information about yourself so that our listeners know who you are and where you're coming from?
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Annie Udzhiyan, and I'm a music lead in Migrant Primary School, a primary school based in Sutton Coldfield, Birmingham. And I also lead music across our trust, the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership.
Fantastic. And I definitely want to talk to you about both of those roles, but let's start with your school first. So, how are you organising music in your school at the moment?
I work with children in Migrant Primary School for about 7 years now, and I deliver music from nursery to year six. We have our bespoke curriculum, which I had the privilege to build over time, and it's ever evolving, ever developing piece of work to reflect our community and the children that I work with, and the reality of the life that we live in. So I deliver music to all the children in our school. Everybody gets at least an hour of music delivered by me. In year four, we have our fantastic steel bands teacher, Beverly Wickman, who delivers steel bands to year fours, and that's also once a week for an hour. And we have two singing assemblies, one for Key Stage 1 and one for Key Stage 2 as well. So that's how it kind of works timetable wise. Um, we are trying to, we believe strongly that music doesn't need to be linked to other subjects. Obviously, if there's necessary links, we would like to link everything to the curriculum that's currently in school. But it's predominantly based on the children, their interests, the instruments that we have. All the children have access to playing musical instruments, starting from year two with keyboards and ukuleles, and the curriculum develops spirally, going through each year group and through the key stages, following the human Swanwick model.
Fantastic. And I think that's the first time so far that I've heard anyone mention the Swanwick Tillman model, which is great because I love that model. It's brilliant. And I think it's something that probably lots of people use, but they don't really realize that they're using it or where it came from. But that idea of that kind of spiral really, really useful. So I'm interested in, you mentioned some instruments there. So how are you organizing that? Is that the whole class is learning an instrument, and are they just doing that for a period of time, or are they returning to it in subsequent years?
Um, I'm a secondary trained teacher, so I have a PGC secondary with QTS at level seven, and then I continued my studies in masters in education in Birmingham City University, and I'm really interested in academia. I love academic research. So thanks for this question. Um, the children have units of work across their whole educational journey. We also have obviously the steel bands ensemble that's delivered across for the duration of year four. However, I wanted to make sure that the children can keep developing their instrumental skills in different instruments to build metacognitive approaches to learning new musical instruments. And even so, many of them might not decide to continue with that specific instruments. They have the learning model of approaching new learning, not only in music, but across wider range of subject areas. and they have the self-regulatory and metacognitive skills to really embed knowledge and create schema. So yes, we do learn instruments as a whole class. And how I sustain this when I'm not delivering an instrumental unit is by providing opportunities for the children to attend clubs before or after school or during the lunch times. So we have a ukulele club. So the children that love playing the ukulele, not only in class, they can continue practicing until once again they learn it in their curriculum music lessons. We also have a keyboard club and one-to-one tuitions provided in all of these instruments. So there is a sustained network that, yes, we plant the seed of knowledge, but we also equip them with the skill and the opportunity to continue developing their skills and understanding and love for music.
That's fantastic. That sounds like a great approach. So it sounds to me like there's quite a lot of connection between your kind of curriculum and your extracurricular, because you've obviously introducing those instruments in the curriculum, and then you've got the clubs that they can join. What other stuff is going on in terms of extracurricular? Do you have other instrumental opportunities that aren't directly linked to the curriculum, or other things happening?
Um, we have an extensive opportunity for the children to explore further musical instruments or be part of ensemble. We have ukulele club on Mondays. On Tuesday, we have the steel pans ensemble, which is partially funded by the Arts Council through the Music Hub during lunch times, and it's open for the children to attend in their own accord. And then we have after school ensemble, which is our sort of elective. Um, then on Wednesdays, we have our keyboard club as well at lunchtime. And then on Thursday, we have our young, rising voices choir to complement the Key Stage 2 choir, Young Voices, which takes place on Monday. We also have the Musical Theatre Club, which is delivered by my fantastic colleague, Thea Layton. And we just have children that are very, very keen to learn instruments and just to try new things. We have obviously the one-to-one protected lessons in strings, woodwind, as well as keyboard, drums, and guitar. And of course, we are partnering with our wider family of schools and across the trust and beyond with the music service, where the children have an opportunity to explore either singing or different instrumental orchestras in West Midlands. You know, we're very lucky looking into the landscape of opportunities in Birmingham and in West Midlands in general. I feel like as long as we know about things, we just make sure that we share it not only with our immediate community in our school, but across the trust, so children can make the most of those amazing opportunities that are provided by the Royal Ballet or the Symphony Hall, the CBS. So we have fantastic organizations such as Opera, Quench Arts, and just a community of people that really care about music education. And I feel like we're very privileged to be in the very heart of these connections and not only to participate, but to promote them as a school.
Yeah, I guess you're benefiting from your location there. I'm based in the Midlands as well. There is an awful lot going on here, definitely. But I suppose it's not, it's not just luck, is it? It's your school has made the decision that music is important. And I'm wondering if that was a decision that was taken like before you arrived. Was it already like that when you got there, or is it something you've had to work on? And if so, what have those conversations been like with your senior leadership team to kind of get all this stuff happening?
Um, Thank you for this question. Actually, I definitely want to talk about this because I think it's so, so important. It's not luck, and it's yes an opportunity, but then you make it a reality, I suppose. I arrived in Near Green Primary School by chance, and I believe in chances. It's a great belief of mine, but I just met people that very much our thinking is completely aligned, and also our team as a whole, not just the music team, but the whole staff of me and Green Primary School is combined by people that have vision, they have belief, they have really strong working ethic, and we're massive support network. So when I arrived in Near Green, I was asked to cover a singing assembly and keyboard club, and I initially said no. And I want to mention this because just yesterday with my year fives, we're learning about Hans Zimmer, and he spoke about all his no's that turned into yes. So after a lot of persuasion by a friend that I was covering for, I went to migrate school. And I remember being on the phone with my mom because at the time I was working for the music hub. I was running my own business, doing pair lessons. I was in a really good place in terms of professionally. I had lots and lots of lessons I was delivering. But I went to this school and I saw a room equipped with lots of instruments that are like stacked away neatly and they didn't look played. And then I met the children and the staff, and I was like, this is the most wonderful place I've been to. And I've been to so many beautiful, wonderful schools, but something just clicked. It was the fact that within an hour of being in that school, both the deputy head and the head teacher came to say hi in a way that was supportive. They weren't observing me, they were talking to the children about what we were doing. They joined in. And then before and after I met the staff and the children, they took interest, genuine interest, to find out who I am, what am I bringing to the school, and just speak to me about the school. Um, Working as a parent teacher, you go in and out of wonderful settings and you work with fantastic staff. But this was very different. I just felt this initial, like, I really feel valued here, and I've been here for like 20 minutes. So after I had to cover for my friends a couple of weeks, I went ahead and I said, I want to talk to you about the vision I have about your school and these instruments that are neatly stacked and clean and look like they haven't been played for a while. Can we talk about it? And then we had our fantastic head Anna Bolson and our deputy at the time and now head teacher Crystal Brooks. They said, yes, let's meet. And it was instant, it was unconditional. Let's talk about this. They made sure they have time in their timetable, which is something that's ongoing. There's always time for music. There's always time to talk about what's next for the children. So they spoke to me and they literally created a position. They've recently have lost their specialist teacher, and Anna was continuing being a strategic lead executive lead for the math, and Crystal was staying in our school to be an acting head and currently a head teacher. So they share this love for music. And since then, our school is just moved forward with the model that we operate under. So we are specialist model school. So we have specialist teachers in physical education, PE, the fantastic Christina Hans. We have a forest school specialist, Miss Gordon, and Pupil Premium Champion. I work really, really closely with him to make sure that every single child in our school have the best opportunities. We have the wonderful Rhiannon Sharon delivering arts and design. And we have my wonderful colleague, Hannah Metcalf, delivering French to our children in Key Stage 2. But we work so closely as a team. We're so fortunate to share this vision that every single subject in the curriculum is really valued and gets this attention, not only from the class staff, but from ourselves driving the curriculum innovation, delivering high pedagogy. And many people have asked Crystal Brooks, our head teacher, why do you go for this model? Surely it's not cheap. And how do you find time in the curriculum? And she just really strongly believes that our children get one chance in primary education.
That's incredible. And like hearing you talk about it, I can hear how appreciative you are of everything that the school has been able to offer you and how open they've been working that way. And you're right, it is an unusual model, isn't it? You quite often find schools who have specialist PE, specialist music, but to also have all those other subjects as specialist delivery is quite unique, I would say. And I suppose because when you were talking, I was thinking, you know, whether you would feel vulnerable in a way that if you had a change of headship or something, things might change. But it sounds like this is so embedded because it's the whole approach across the whole curriculum that this is kind of here to stay with this school. And you may have people come and go, but the model itself is going to stand the test of time?
I really truly hope so because it works. It is what's the true core of our school and what makes me green me green. And recently we had our fantastic deputy head teacher, Udzhiyan Thornton, leading the school for a prolonged period of time, and the vision was continued. Um, I just think that anybody who's been in school, seen these lessons take part delivered by specialist teachers, they understand the why instantaneously. And the way the children speak about the provision and the curriculum as well. We're just very, very fortunate to be in a place where we share this understanding of high quality curriculum. We share this vision of opportunities that are for all. And our motto is making a difference. And we truly want to make a difference. And I can genuinely say that everybody is on board with the vision of we're here to provide this. We're educating the whole child. Yes, we want really strong results, and we always work towards these children that are equipped with their really access, but also children that have interests. They have opportunities, and they have really the best time in primary school.
So I'm interested, obviously, because you've got this model and you're also working with, I think it's 27 other schools in your trust, isn't it? There's a huge number of schools. Are they all following the same model or not? And how are you kind of managing to support them with the way they do things?
Um, in the trust as a whole, we share our vision and our ethos about providing broad and balanced curriculum. What something that I'm really, really grateful about is the fact that we don't think that one size fits all. And through working across the trust with different leaders and different teachers, I've come to understand that any curriculum model, any approach has to work with the school. And yes, you're right there. In our school, our approach and our model works. That's what happens. There is space that's created within the very heart of the school for the specialist model to work. But across the school, there's different approaches to this. As a large trust, we work across different local authorities as well, which provides its own challenges. Um, but I think that the shared understanding and the shared search for high quality education is what brings us all together. We put the children in the heart of everything we do, and all the decisions that are linked to music in particular are really driven by this. We have lots of opportunity to share the talents of our children. We have joint events. Even at the beginning of this year, we had 50 children from across our whole trust, both in primary school students and secondary school students coming together to open our conference, which was one of the absolute highlights of my professional career. Having getting the opportunity to lead them and sing with them and just be present in front of their teachers is definitely a highlight and a moment I wouldn't forget, but I'm sure if we stay with them as well. We also perform as a trust, young voices. We're making the extra steps to come together. And I feel like this kind of it's a golden thread across everything we do. We might not deliver the same curriculum, but we share the same ethos, and I think that's what drives us together.
So, when you're talking to your colleagues across the trust, and with that in mind, that you are, I think, rightly saying not every school has to do the same thing. What are the sort of things that they ask for support on? What are the kind of key issues that you're seeing coming from your schools? And is it very different for each school, or are there kind of common themes coming across?
I feel like the issues that my colleagues are meeting are similar to what kind of see across the board in different schools, not only in our trust, but generally nationally. A lot of the issues are that very young colleagues or colleagues at the beginning of their professional career are leading music. Um, so they would need support in terms of capturing the whole picture. How do you lead a subject when you're just coming into terms within your own teaching and building this pedagogical approach and learning the curriculum yourself? How do you lead the subject? And I think that's a beautiful thing to see and to have the opportunity to work with those colleagues and just really say, if you get it right in music, you got it right undoubtedly across your whole pedagogy. Because I'm sure you would agree, in music, we need to have our basics very, very, very strongly embedded from the very beginning. And yeah, it's just like encouraging colleagues, mentoring them and coaching them to find their feet, and then finding approaches, getting familiar with the scheme and understanding what music looks across a whole school, but also working with other organizations to continuously develop their own skills through a CPD that's offered with the hub. Just I feel like knowledge is definitely a power, and having one person to ask those questions have been really beneficial for many of my colleagues. And some of them that have continued their professional journey, we still keep in touch, and I feel like we've built a network of people that share this understanding that music is a valuable part of the national curriculum, and every child deserves equal access to it. Another theme that comes across is how to make space in the already busy timetable, and then we have this really important conversation with senior leaders to empower people to take this decision and make sure that music is not an add-on. It's what brings people together, is what creates this sense of security for some of our children, empowers those that might not succeed in more academic subjects, and just really build space for children to be children, to be curious, to be successful. Um, so that's another aspect of it. But coming together and having the time, because I feel like we're really time poor recently in education, to talk about these issues and really find individual solutions, has been really important part of my role working across the trust.
And now that's going to expand, isn't it? Because you've been appointed as one of the lead schools for the Birmingham Music Hub. So you're already doing so much in school. So you're teaching all these lessons, you're running all these ensembles, you're also supporting all these other schools through your trust. How, Annie? What are your plans for being the lead school? How is that going to fit into the picture?
I just being a lead school is an immense recognition for something that we believe in, but nothing is changing for us. We just get more opportunities to share what we believe in and to share what we know, and how we make things happen. And what really helps is that we have mechanisms in Mere Green and I believe across the trust. As I said, like we are really time poor. I feel at times that an extra 2 hours would be so beneficial, but I'm very lucky to be allowed this flexibility, and I'm allocated leadership time, as well as being trusted to do my job in the best way. Although there is structure to support me, I don't feel like there is a very strict monitoring and questioning of how things are done. I always have somebody to lean on and find support in terms of administrative tasks. You know how it is. This is part of working within an institution and for institution. It's an important part of communicating with stakeholders as well, but trust from senior leaders and people that say they believe in my expertise and they believe in the way I utilize my time. So again, it's just a massive privilege to have like-minded people that allow time, and they understand the value of sharing our vision and equipping other schools uh, to do if they believe it's the best thing for them to do similar things that we do.
Mhm. I think you're a really good example of how specialist provision should operate. I think a lot of schools think, the answer to the problem of music is get a specialist, but that's only the first piece of the puzzle, isn't it? The school itself has to engage with it. The school has to be on board. The SLT have to be behind you. The other teachers have to understand what you're doing and value it. The parents, the wider school community. So it's not a job for just one person. It's the whole school community and your entire trust really coming together and making that model a success, I suppose. So I guess my question is there anything that you feel is not working well at the moment, or are there things that you want to develop to make them better in the future? Or what's on your kind of wish list for next academic year? What's coming up for you?
Um, this is a great question. For me, as I said, I believe in chances, and I feel like being a musician, chances do play a massive role in our careers and opportunities meeting new people. Um, for me, it's always looking forward and developing myself professionally and personally, just being able to be receptive to the opportunities that present themselves, and always seeking more opportunities for our children. Um, Things that are not working well. I feel that things we can further develop is create even more clubs, more opportunities, involve even those that might be hesitant, really look into our data because we do this not out of putting things into a spreadsheet, but really truly looking behind the numbers. What is that group of children that is still disengaged or can be more engaged? Um, Finding opportunities and currently I speak to so many people across different schools. Our communities, our learning communities, they're very flexible because we get more and more children with diverse range of needs. And I feel like we're learning about how to make our curriculums accessible, physically accessible, but also academically accessible to such wide range of children with such different starting points. And that's definitely been a focus of my own personal development for about 2, 3 years, really digging into these approaches to be able to scaffold knowledge, to make sure that every child succeeds and really develops these metacognitive models. So these are the two goals I'll have for myself. Just being open-minded and perceptive about opportunities that undoubtedly would present themselves. And the second one is to continue developing my knowledge and expertise towards enabling every single child in classroom to take something home, and to make it applicable to them and to be successful in music and happy. And as long as you're successful, I believe that's where the happiness and joy comes. And I often see myself as we are in the business of removing barriers, because I speak to many of my year 6 students, and I say the one thing I want from you is to have the opportunity to really be open-minded and perceptive and really see the full picture. Even if you're not a musician, you can be a person who appreciates music. And even if you decide not to continue with a single instrument, you might pick it up in a time of need when for well-being purposes or just to be part of an ensemble or a group of people. And that's what music does for me. It really is a gateway of meeting you and other colleagues and share this love for music and this common understanding, because regardless who you talk to, which country they come from, what language they speak in, you can always sing a song together or perform your favorite track or share an experience that you had. So I think that's what music does for people.
I think that's it's really clear from what you've said, and several times you said like music is for everyone, and I think that really comes across in this approach, this idea of just throwing every available opportunity at your children, letting them have that experience so that they can decide for themselves where they take that in the future. And I think sometimes we get bogged down in the idea of, only talented people do music, and there are people who are musical and people who are not musical. And I think this is a really good example of an approach where it's like, no, everybody is musical. Everybody has a talent for something. Everybody should have the same opportunity. And then, Some of them will do better than others. Let's be realistic. Some people do go on to be professional
Yeah, of course.
musicians,
Yeah.
but you don't have that opportunity unless somebody has introduced you to music in the first place. And it sounds like that's the approach you're taking.
This is what we share. Like, I keep saying this because I really believe it. You can't be what you can't see. And this translates in every single way. If you don't see people like you, in all different ways that you see yourself doing different things, how can you imagine yourself in their position? And we recently had the big O. We had Ofsted, and we just heard from some of the colleagues that were in those meetings with the children speaking to Ofsted really powerful quotes from children that you wouldn't expect. They wouldn't talk to you with that candid, pure approach, but they said, "I can see myself in the artists that we see when we have art, and I can see myself in the composers that we explore when we have music." And this is why we do it, right? Just to open the door, and everything else is then a little bit of luck, a lot of hard work and commitment. And I just think as us as educators, it's good to have these hard questions and ask ourselves what's next, what's not working, because hopefully in these little moments of clarity, we can see all the amazing things that are happening across our schools. And listening to your first episode, I was really impressed by the work that other people are doing. And of course, I know it's happening, but um, just the shared joy of purely being present in the moment with these children and just giving them a little bit of your time and what you truly love is so special. I think we're in the best job, and I often write on LinkedIn, "This is the best job, still the best job." It could be a busy week around Christmas, or um, there are challenges. We educators, we think on our feet that there's always something changing in education. But I think this is a blessing actually, because it keeps us really aware of the reality of what life's all about. And for some of those children, but it's still the best job. I think it for me it's gonna stay the best job. But I hope more people get the opportunity to share this joy that we get to see and experience.
What a great way to end our chat. It is. It's the best job in the world. I agree with you. It's fantastic. And we wouldn't do anything else with our lives other than this. Thank you so
That's
much for your time today. I know that our listeners are going to have really enjoyed that and have got away with lots of food for thought. So thank you very much, Annie.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I really enjoyed listening to Annie talk about that quite unique model that they have at Mere Green, with lots of the subjects being covered by specialists. And it was really interesting to see how they're making that work without making it really elitist and without making it feel like you have to be a special kind of person to be able to do those subjects. I think their pupils sound like they're getting a really fantastic introduction to all of those different subjects, including music, and really being given the skills and the opportunities to choose their own path with music or indeed any other subject. We did have one or two little technical lumps and bumps in that episode, I'm afraid. We've done our best to smooth those out in the edit, but apologies if there were little blips in either the video stream if you're watching on YouTube or in the audio if you're listening on a podcast app. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to find our other episodes, you can subscribe on whichever platform you're listening on, or on YouTube if you're watching us. You can also go to our website, which is musiceducationsolutions.co.uk, and there's on the top menu bar a little tab that you can click on to find the podcast. You can also find our other podcast, CME in Conversation, if you want to listen to more stuff to do with music education, but not solely related to primary music. This was our final episode for Primary Music in Conversation, But don't worry, we had so many schools contact us when we asked for guests for this season that it's looking highly likely that we're going to have a season two for you before too long. I'm hoping in the autumn term we'll be able to release a whole new set of episodes talking to a whole different range of primary schools all around the UK and maybe even beyond. I hope you've enjoyed listening and do stay with us for season two. Primary Music in Conversation is presented by Dr. Liz Stafford, edited by Kay Charlton, and produced by Music Education Solutions.